It's the best nightclub in video game history.
I'm standing here inside of the greatest video game nightclub of all time, which is from the hit 2021 video game. Actually, I'm not going to tell you that yet. Let me back up.
Hitman, right? I would think Hitman. It's not Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk clubs are terrible. They're terrible. No. Has to be Hitman. Hitman has the best clubs.
Video game nightclubs have always fascinated me because most of the time they are really
pineapple
strange,
pizza. Pineapple pizza.
Sense, right?
I
They're
have so much water in my mouth.
Side locations.
I can barely talk.
You rush through quickly, so developers aren't going to take thousands of hours to perfect every little detail. They just get it close enough to convey the mood that they want and move on. Sometimes that works out pretty well, and you get some really awesome and authentic set pieces. Other times, things are a little weirder. Both ends of the video game nightclub spectrum, and today I'm going to take you through 7 of the most notable ones ever, spanning more than 20 years of video game history.
The best nightclubs in video game history. My brain instantly says Blue... No, what's it called? Sean! Blue Lagoon. Wang, 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 wang. Sean! Heavy Rain. Heavy Rain had a very good nightclub, man. Ready or not, I don't know about that. GTA probably. Hitman is the best. I think Cyberpunk clubs are terrible. Every NPC in Cyberpunk nightclubs they're just so awkward, these NPCs, man.
From the sparse and the surreal to the staggeringly authentic and impressive, all culminating in what I think is pretty easily the
Hitman has the best
nightclub
NPCs
in video game history. I'm legitimately so excited to tell you guys about this. Our tour is going to begin in the year 2002 with what I consider to be the first true video game nightclub of the 3D era, the Malibu Club from Grand Theft Auto Vice.
Which you can own, by the way, back in the day. You can own that club, and once in a while you go and it gives you money. I remember.
Now, to be fair, this isn't literally the first fully 3D nightclub in a video game. That honor technically goes to either Duke Nukem 3D or Omicron the Nomad Soul featuring David Bowie, depending on how you slice it. But Vice City's Malibu Club is really the first one that took the task of making a video game nightclub semi-seriously. And as a result...
It's a true story. Alhamdulillah. My first ever ejaculation, my first ever jerking off was in this video game. I was 13 or 14, I don't remember. And I started to experience sexuality and what a boner is. And I had a prostitute in a car in this game, and her noises made me come for the first time. Swear to God. True fucking story, man.
It set the standard for pretty much everything we'll be looking at going forward. The first thing you'll notice when you see footage of this place is just how empty it is. Every single NPC that isn't an employee of the club is on the dance floor, and they're all dancing. There's not a single person standing around at the bar in a chair. We are 100% dancing 100% of the time here at the Malibu Club. You'll also notice that if you listen, there aren't really any background sound effects of any kind. Some of the clubs later on have people cheering or glasses clanking around at the bar, but back in 2002 they just slapped a bunch of reverb on
I think it wasn't a club in 10 years, bro.
If you closed your eyes while standing in this club, the sound would be indistinguishable from listening to music in an abandoned warehouse. Now, weirdly, I would have thought that this would make the vibe in here really strange and surreal.
GTA 6 will probably have a crazy club.
I'm sure it looks like it on camera, but in the context of a game like Grand Theft Auto Vice City, which has such a great empty vibe to it that we made an entire video on the subject, the Malibu Club actually comes across as more lively than many of the places you go in the game. The great dancing animations and upbeat music help a lot, and as a result, even though
what's Murangi doing in the game?
It's a little weird. It's not nearly as liminal in context as you might be led to believe. There are some nice details here as well, like the high-quality textures behind the bar, and there's an area up top overlooking the club floor for the owner.
Which is your office later.
It's not like this feels like a real nightclub, and I wouldn't want it to, right? Because the thing that makes a video game nightclub great isn't necessarily, incredible realism or attention to detail. It's just the ability for the game to convey some kind of strong vibe that uses the broad aesthetics of a nightclub.
I really believe that GTA 6 will be so good looking that it will be very sexually introducing. They showed in the trailer, right? You can walk around the beach and there's going to be these big booty bitches in a bikini. I think GTA 6 will trigger a lot of men to switch over to Pornhub, rob one out and come back. There will be a lot of,
And the Malibu Club.
It's kind of crazy, right? I'm becoming a bit old now. You can go into a car, go to a beach in GTA 6, everything looks really real, and you just kill everyone. Which is kind of weird. It is kind of weird. And people do that. Today I will log in, and I'm gonna just kill 10,000 innocent people. Ha! It's like, I'm getting old, man. It's like, You should be on the list, bro.
absolutely does that for Vice City.
You're such a
Now,
boomer
one
now.
of
I'm
the
getting
things I
old,
was
yeah.
curious about for this club is how many NPCs they
It's interesting how the better graphics become, the more morally weird it becomes killing NPCs. When we reach, listen to me, right? I'm not wrong here. When we reach a world where NPCs in the video game look fucking real and act real, and you shoot them in the head, that's an interesting psychological thing to talk about. You know what I mean?
actually have in them. And if that number goes
Not
up
really.
and up,
Oh, we got a serial killer on chat. Daniel N.E. Probably means the Night Edger. They look for him in Colorado, man. The Night Edger. Legendary serial killer in the chat.
Newer games. So in addition to visiting all of these clubs and telling you about them, I'm actually going to use this little counting device to keep track of how many NPCs each of the nightclubs has in it, and then we're going to compare all of them as we move forward. In the case of Vice City, the total NPC count is 33. Not huge, but it's not terrible. Our next stop on the list is going to be 5 years later.
That is, oh, I have no idea. I don't have the slightest idea. Maybe one of the first Hitmans?
The start of the Xbox 360 generation. But before we get there are so many great video game nightclubs we won't be getting to on this list because they just have a lot of overlap with the main locations we're going to look at. But I know lots of you are going to be waiting to see if I mention your favorites. So I figured...
Let me share my favorite nightclub. You want to hear boomer shit? You want to hear old shit? Maybe I can find it. When I was a kid, there was a video game I loved to death. And it was a social media game. It was a game you would go in, talk to people, meet people. When I was young, every night I would go to this online server. There was this online server and there was a where's that bar? There was this online server. Shit, I can't find it. And there was a bar on Tatooine. And every night people would log in with their Jedis. You go to the bar and you're just talking to them and you have duels and stuff. You're just fucking hanging out. But this is a single player. This is not multiplayer. There was a bar where people would meet and shit. This game was so good. Tatooine bar multiplayer? That is, yeah.
86 months.
My childhood right here. My childhood. You will, I remember, man, this is what I talked earlier with social media. You will go online and just talk to people. You wouldn't just fight the whole time. Maybe he shows that. You would go in and you can make your custom Jedi. And here on the left is the bar. I would fight people here, I remember.
It's not nice, guys.
Oh, Lily, let me finish.
Show the bar. On the right, here's the bar. He's not showing it, it's behind him. This game was so fucking good. So good. I played hundreds of hours on this map. He's not showing the bar. Fucking trash you. I fucking hate this guy. Here's the bar. And people will just sit there and do emotes like... And they will just chill there. They will chat with each other. And then they're like, you can make a duel with them. That was my favorite nightclub. Man, I'm an old fucking cunt, dude. People will just meet here and hang out. And then you will go outside and fight them.
Some dirty sniper trying to shoot me.
Nice. Very cool story. Can I get a cool story, bro, in the chat, please? Thank you.
Figured in between each stop, we would do a quick honorable mention of some other clubs from these eras because there's just so many good ones. Our first honorable mention is going to be a little game from BioWare called Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, which has not one, not two, but 5 different cantinas scattered across 4 different planets. The main reason we aren't using this as a main entry is just because the game we're about to talk about will showcase some of what Knights of the Old Republic does more cleanly, but it's worth noting that Star Wars, which of course this game is based off of, really established the visual language of science fiction bars and clubs. And basically every sci-fi nightclub from 1977 onwards owes some debt to Star Wars, with its alien music bands and sexy alien dancers. But we're about to talk a lot more about all that. Moving into the Xbox 360 generation brings us to what is, weirdly, some of the most famous video game nightclubs of all time. The nightclubs from the hit 2007 video game series, Mass Effect.
Yeah.
We're going to spend the bulk of our time talking about Mass Effect 1 here, because for a lot of people...
Mass Effect 2, one of the best games ever made.
Mass Effect 2 is so perfect, in a video game nightclub in the context of a role-playing game. And this is really meaningful, because in a perfect world, the goal of a...
I was in love with Tali Zora. I was genuinely in love, I'm not kidding. When I played this game, I was like 17 maybe. I fell in love with her. And there's a romance option, you can fall in love with her, and then I killed her in the end, accidentally. We had to send someone into a vent to hack a system. And she's like, I will do it. And I'm like, I love you, girl. You will do it. And then she got fucking killed in there. Because it was the wrong choice. She got killed. We saved the world, but she got killed. I was genuinely hurt. I'll never forget. I just lost. It's like a body pillow, right? I was genuinely. Everyone in chat was once in love with a girl in a video game. Come on, right? That was my girl.
Role-playing game is that
it's funny though because she's an alien and she can't breathe air. She would instantly die. And then there's a scene where she takes a lot of antibiotics. She takes off her mask so you can fuck her. But, you know, that's weird. Anyway, that's kind of weird, you know?
you feel like you're playing a role. Almost like, you know, playing pretend as a kid, but way more fun because you can watch a hot...
I jerked off to that 100%. No regrets. I totally jerked off to that. Never forget.
Alien dance on a coffee table. So a place like Cora's Den, which is one of 2 nightclubs in Mass Effect, isn't just a place for you to do tasks that the game gives you. It's also a place to role play if you want it to be. You know, to hang out, to pretend you're someone you're not for a little bit. Even if there's not any actual interactivity here, which aside from watching an alien dance on a coffee table, there basically isn't. Now personally, I've never honestly thought that Cora's Den here really...
You guys always act like you never jerked off on anything weird. You guys always act so high and mighty. Most of you are fucking watching hentai all the time, okay? Don't act so fucking high.
It felt like a nightclub, or a bar, I guess is what it's closer to. As iconic as it is, the design is pretty sparse, the music is too quiet, so it's a bit awkward feeling, and the NPCs basically don't do anything energetic. It's a whole lot of sitting and standing still. In fact, the only energetic thing going on in here that I could find was somebody giggling every 30 seconds or so, and if you spend some time triangulating where the giggling is coming from, you'll learn that it's actually coming directly out of this dancing Asari up on the bar. Apparently, she's the only person having any fun in this place, aside from me watching the coffee table dance. The other nightclub in Mass Effect is called Flux, and overall, I would say it gets a lot closer to that nightclub feel. You've got people dancing, you've got a bit more background noise, there's more variety in what the NPCs are doing. For
2007, man, that's pretty fucking good.
Interactive casino sort of thing up on the second level where you can play a game or something. I honestly could never figure out how this thing worked. And this is a really great encapsulation of classic video game nightclub. A place that at first glance feels kind of authentic, but if you really slow down and look around, you'll notice just how weird everyone here is. But as long as you're enjoying the game, rather than feeling like this weirdness is a turn-off, you actually just kind of end up accepting it, and it becomes an aspect of the place you're spending time in, rather than something that takes you out of it, which is just great. For NPCs, we've got 2 different counts for 2 different clubs. Cora's Den has 33 NPCs present, but we're going to use the count for Flux because I like it better, which makes our final count for Mass Effect 48 NPCs. Of course, the other 2 Mass Effect games have nightclubs as well, and the most famous
counting
is
in Hitman.
Afterlife from Mass Effect 2, and it is a great club, don't get me wrong, but broadly speaking, most of the stuff we want to talk about with those games is going to be covered more thoroughly with the other games on our list, so we're going to move on. We're on our way to the year 2010, and a game that is very near and dear to my heart, but first, another quick honorable mention. Grand Theft Auto 4. I know it's weird not to spend much time on a release as huge as GTA 4, but the fact of the matter is that while the nightclubs in the game are great, they don't necessarily do any one thing better than some of the other games on our list that we're going to be covering. Plus, we talk about GTA enough on this channel. I want to talk about other games, but I did want to shout out the Grand Theft Auto 4 DLC, The Ballad of Gay Tony, because that game, despite being hugely satirical, has a really fun and, you know, I won't say subtle because GTA is never subtle, but I will say nuanced representation of gay nightclub culture and spaces in New York City in the early 2000s. And it's the only game here that tries to show not just the clubs themselves, but the world and the people that built them. So shout out GTA 4, shout out Gay Tony. Let's move on. Our next game is the least popular game on our list today, but it's a game that has the very first video game nightclub that I ever personally went in. GoldenEye 007 for the Nintendo Wii. Despite being on a game console that was made fun of endlessly for how weak it was, and despite being part of a game that was considered an inferior remake of a beloved first-person shooter on the Nintendo 64, GoldenEye 007
there's certain things men don't share, my man. Come on, what's wrong? A
nightclub that in some ways still holds up against modern games for just how well it evokes the feeling of being immersed in a real nightclub. And there aren't very many games like that on our list. Take a look at this behind me.
Daniel Craig was 2010. Wow. Wow. You feel old? 2010 was already Daniel Craig.
A little blurrier
For me,
than
that's
other
Pierce
games we've
Brosnan.
looked at. I recorded this footage off of an original disc copy of the game, not an emulator. But really, just look at it for a second. This is a Wii game. Compare this to Mass Effect. Compare this to Vice City. Heck, even I'm going to spoil one from later. Compare it to Cyberpunk. I'm not saying that this Wii game from 2010 looks as good as Cyberpunk 2077, because you guys just aren't ready to have that conversation yet, but at the very least, we can agree that it looks way closer than it has any right to. So why is that? How did they do that? Well, it really comes down to one thing. MeUndies. Welcome to the sponsorship. No
hate, bro.
Idea. I honestly have no idea on Instagram.
A lot of gay energy in this video, which it's okay, man.
Give you a full refund at allaustin@com. It's underpants.
That's a cool sponsor, man.
I could, right? I don't see why not. It's a win-win. Anyway, what the heck were we talking about? Oh, right. Cardboard. This nightclub from GoldenEye 007 has lived in my mind without paying a penny of rent ever since I walked into it on a fateful evening in my dad's basement in the year 2010. In GoldenEye 007, you play as James Bond, a British secret agent who's trying to do something really important, and you arrive at this club.
I could never imagine shooting on a console, on a controller. That must be the biggest.
You enter the nightclub through this nice-looking lobby. If you have time, take a peek out into the city and enjoy a very liminal space interpretation of Barcelona. And then you head through some atmospheric hallways, and the muffled sound of the music starts to fade in. And then you open the final door into the club itself, and bam, the lights, the sounds, which I can't play or else I'll get demonetized, and above all, the NPCs. Walk up to the balcony and look over the edge at the dance floor.
That was really
good. You
good.
will see something that we literally will not see in any other video game nightclub except the very last one on our list. You've got hundreds of NPCs packed tightly together, dancing to the music, filling the space with an incredibly authentic nightclub energy. So how the heck did they pull this off on the Wii? Turns out the answer is cardboard. I wasn't kidding. If you take the time to stop and walk up to any of these NPCs, you'll immediately see that they aren't really NPCs.
That's kind of creepy, bro. It's like a nightmare.
Flat cardboard cutouts playing simple dancing animations in a loop. Absolutely top-notch art design by the team at Eurocom, rest in peace. And it works. It works really, really well to sell the vibe. Combine a couple of those cardboard NPCs with some good music, a little camera bob, and low lighting, and you end up with a really stunning and immersive set piece for a really decent first-person shooter on one of the most successful gaming consoles of all time. Now, this is actually something that Mass Effect 2 and 3 did a little bit of as well, where if you look off in the distance, you can sometimes see that they filled out their spaces.
It reminds me of like nightmares.
NPC cutouts rather than full NPCs, like you see here. But in GoldenEye, they actually let you walk right up to them. If you scrutinize it too closely, of course, it does get a little bit weird. The people at the bar don't really move at all, and seeing a pure black apparition dancing ecstatically next to an NPC that's trying their hardest not to notice, it is a little creepy. But when you're pushing through the crowd on the dance floor and looking up through the fog at the DJ, it's really good. I'm sorry I keep saying that, but it's really atmospheric, and in some ways pulling that off using such limited tools makes this the most impressive nightclub on our list. Now, as the mission continues, you do fight through a massive back of house area in the club that's perfectly suited for having a gunfight, and there's a funny detail back there on the shelves where all of the food, all of the labels on the food is in some sort of Cyrillic language, probably Russian, despite this club being in Barcelona. In terms of the number of NPCs, it's a little hard to say. If we don't include the dancing the dancing black people, the silhouettes, which I feel like we probably shouldn't, we've got a total of 82 full NPCs here, which isn't bad.
Really high
if we did include
walking to
the
that club,
dancing
that
black
must be
silhouettes, it'd be something like 200 or maybe 250, but it's hard to estimate because you're pretty restricted on where you can walk. Next up, we will be skipping ahead to 2012, but our honorable mention from this era comes from 2011.
I don't even remember, but what was 2011? What happened in 2011? I forgot everything. How old was I? What did I do? It's all gone. 2011. What was 2011?
Deus Ex Human Revolution,
Name one
which
fact
is one of the
about
only
2011.
games today I was
Skyrim?
unable to get my own footage of because my save file disappeared. So shout out to Sean from Total Gaming Network for recording this footage 14 years ago. The nightclub here is a small place called The Hive from fairly late in the game, and the main takeaway is just the aesthetic, which is basically a single color, yellow. That's really the aesthetic of a lot of games of this area, to be honest. Deus Ex Human Revolution was kind of the last gasp of the piss filter aesthetic that the Xbox 360 era was known for, but the idea of nightclubs that have distinct color schemes is something we're going to see a couple times later on, so keep that.
Did he not just skip on Heavy Rain? He has to mention Heavy Rain, man. Has to mention Heavy Rain.
Look at that skybox. Holy cow, that's just really good. The Hive also gives us a taste of something that weirdly hasn't been part of our
My
nightclub
parents
journey so
divorced in
far, which
2011.
is detailed bathrooms. For whatever reason, aside from Grand Theft Auto 4, bathrooms were not a standard part of video game nightclubs until the early 2010s with games like Deus Ex, Grand Theft Auto, and the next game on our list, which is the 2012 cult classic from Square Enix, Sleeping Dogs. This
Never
game
played
is
that.
widely considered an underappreciated gem, and it's basically
wow, it
a
looks good. There's
classic
a GTA.
3D beat-em-up combined with Grand Theft Auto 4 set
Thank you,
in
Box, my
modern
dude.
Hong Kong. As you can imagine, modern Hong
Very
Kong
underrated.
is the
I never
perfect setting
saw
for
this
a
game.
video game nightclub,
Thank
and
you,
the
Box,
game
my
has
dude.
a great one called Club Bam Bam. Of all the places we've looked at so far,
Sounds like
this
a
one is pretty far
Jeffrey
and
Epstein
away
club.
the one that feels the most grounded. And I don't even mean that it's the most impressively detailed or realistic
Gulag.
necessarily, but the actual vibe that they went for here, it's not a high-class
Whoa.
lounge or some sort of super
Whoa.
polished Apple Store-looking sci-fi
Let the
bar.
boys hit
This
the
is
floor,
a
bro.
straight up, just regular-ass nightclub, like the type of place you could walk into in any city. And it's a little hard for me to pinpoint exactly why. Part of it, I think, has to do with the sound. The way they have the music reverberating in the space feels really authentic, and rather than perfect-sounding video game soundtrack music, it kind of has this messy, wobbly quality that music gets when it's played in a space that wasn't designed.
It's kind of cool, man. I don't know how to develop games, but when you develop GTA 6, you have a guy or a couple of persons that only design a nightclub. And it's a nightclub that the player maybe hangs out in 5 minutes, right? But you have to do sound design, NPCs, level design. How much goes into this stuff? Just a nightclub. That is very impressive, man. Well, it sounds like a cool job. What did you do there? I designed the nightclub in GTA 6. That must be
For music. Once
fun,
again, I
man.
can't technically let you hear this because of copyright issues, but me and my researcher Luke, we did our best to
It's a lot,
recreate
it probably
the
is, yeah.
songs from this game in sort of our own style so that we could give you a sense of what it might sound like. That's right, we have a custom soundtrack for our video, which technically we have for all of our videos because that's just the kind of guy I am. They've also done a good job of paying attention to some of the less pretty things in a nightclub, like bottles and glasses set on every available surface and stains on the floor, and they have just enough people in here that rather than feeling like a weird, sparse video game place, it feels more like a real nightclub on like a Tuesday. That's actually the predominant feeling I get here in Sleeping Dogs. Is it feels like a real nightclub on like a Tuesday at like 6 p.m. But in addition to all of the little things that we've upgraded here, there's one big upgrade to this game. For the first time, NPCs move around. I don't know if you've noticed, but there isn't a single nightclub we've looked at so far.
I talk about this for ages now on the stream. I think the future of gaming is NPC behavior. More and more we're gonna see, especially GTA is perfect for that, that we're gonna more and more create worlds that feel so real. I think a big reason GTA Roleplay was so successful is because it's the only world that feels so real. That's why I think maybe Skyrim Roleplay will never really become a thing. In GTA Roleplay, you have birds and people and all this stuff feels so real. The immersion is insane. And I'm really predicting, I said that for many years now, that GTA 6 will be a benchmark. It will be the next level of immersion. I really believe when you walk through GTA 6, it's gonna feel so real, man. Like the wind and there's trash flying and someone is honking in the distance. It's gonna feel very real. That's really the future. It's something that Cyberpunk did terribly, in my opinion. The NPCs, the immersion in Cyberpunk is terrible. Every NPC in Cyberpunk is... they're fucking morons, you know? I think GTA 6 will be crazy. You can just log into GTA 6 and walk around the neighborhood, and it's gonna be ridiculously cool.
Where the NPCs move. They all just have a set
A bit of a
position,
sim for
and they
GTA
either
6. I feel like
dance
they're
or
gonna be
talk or
pretty
stand around in that
ridiculously good.
position forever, but they never move from one position to another. This one upgrade, I think, makes a really big difference to selling the space as authentic, even if the way the NPCs walk can be a little, funny, a little video gamey. Now, full disclosure, there was one game before Sleeping Dogs that also had walking NPCs, and that was Grand Theft Auto 4. So, as usual, Rockstar is 4 or 5 years ahead of basically everyone else. But along with all of the other things that the developers of Sleeping Dogs added
exactly,
to
that's
their
why I
game,
think
I'd
GTA
say
6
that at the
will
time
be
of its
mind-blowing.
release, Club Bam Bam was probably
It will be
most
the golden torch of video gaming, and everybody will have to judge itself against it. I'm a pretty big simp. I think GTA 6 will be
nightclub
ridiculous.
Video game. Maybe not the most atmospheric. I would still give that one to GoldenEye on the Wii. But in terms of capturing that kind of awkward, empty feeling, that you get at a nightclub before you've had enough drinks, Sleeping Dogs absolutely nails it. There is one thing about this nightclub, though, that is absolutely horrible. Like, we're talking like offensively bad. And that is the textures that they use inside the toilets to represent whatever it is that they thought people did to toilets at nightclubs. These textures are literally so disgusting that I refuse to show them to you until the end of the video because it would legitimately hurt retention so much that I think it would cost me hundreds of thousands of views. That's how bad they are. Anyway, how many NPCs do we have here in Sleeping Dogs? Well, if you count absolutely everyone, including the people doing terrible karaoke in the side room, you end up with our biggest number yet, 110. Really big step up from anything else so far. In the years after Sleeping Dogs, we actually went through quite a drought of great video game nightclubs. We had things like Watch Dogs, which had some okay ones, and GTA 5 did finally add nightclubs with one of the updates to GTA Online, but nothing that really changed what video game nightclubs were. The one exception to this is our next and last honorable mention, which is not necessarily a game I recommend because I was literally unable to install it after trying for several hours, but it is a game with a really, really weird nightclub, and that is Star Citizen. This game is notorious, obviously, and I know it has a pretty bad reputation, but when I saw footage of Wally's bar inside of a giant Disney World-looking dome with almost no people in it, kind of fell in love.
He cool installed it? How weird is that?
Of course, so the lack of players here just means that this isn't an appealing place for people to hang out in, but the emptiness really makes the atmosphere in here pop. To me, it's kind of giving luxury cruise that went wrong, or like high-end Disney World lounge after hours. I'm sort of obsessed with it, and I actually discovered it because as I was researching for this video, I stumbled across someone else on
if they have 3v3 basketball in GTA 6 is GG for 2K.
YouTube named FabClon, really good name, who apparently also loves video game nightclubs and happened to include it in his list for his video, so shout out to FabClon for that one. And frankly, probably for the best, I was unable to install Star Citizen because I think I would get hopelessly addicted to it. It's just my kind of game. Anyway, we've got 3 more games to cover here today, and in my eyes, these 3 games kind of showcase peak video game
that looks like Ready or Not, which would be kind of fucked
nightclub
up.
Design, all in very different ways. So after 8 years of no great video game nightclubs, our long national nightmare finally came to an end
Hitman.
in 2020, when a little game came out called Cyberpunk 2077. Now, I'm sure most of you are aware, but I have a very special relationship with the nightclubs in
Cyberpunk is such a weird game to me, man. It's so good, but also so bad. It's very hard for me to talk about Cyberpunk. I don't know if it's good or bad. I don't know.
As a result of my video trying to live a normal life in the game from late last year, but we only actually went to one nightclub in that video, and I wanted to showcase 2 of them today because they both illustrate the same idea at different scales.
Speak for me. I think if you would bring the world building and immersion of Rockstar games into Cyberpunk, it would be the greatest fucking game ever. Could you imagine GTA-esque Cyberpunk roleplay servers?
The first one I want to look at is a club called Afterlife, interestingly, the same name as the Mass Effect 2 nightclub that we mentioned briefly, and it's in the basement.
Afterlife is a great name for a club. What would you call your club, Chad? Aurora. I will go with Aurora. What would you call your club?
The balding huntsman, TommyKay, blood of Rye.
Side of downtown. The main thing you'll notice when you come here to Afterlife and to any Cyberpunk 2077 club is visual detail. More than anything else, more than NPC behaviors, more than audio fidelity, more than interactivity, just straight up visual detail. Cyberpunk's bars and clubs look incredible on film, and that's really for 3 reasons. Firstly, the people at CD Projekt Red really understood color design. You remember that nightclub I showed you in Deus Ex, the yellow one? Great vibe.
This video is kind of showing me how much talent goes into making a video game. How like, it's not just technical know-how and programming, but also having fucking ideas and creativity.
But the color design of that space is just yellow. They just tinted
only below
yellow.
16-year-olds allowed.
Cyberpunk's nightclubs also managed to have distinctive colors,
like art. It's
like
art,
this green-blue in Afterlife, without just feeling like they threw a green filter over everything. They balanced the scenes really nicely while maintaining a strong sense of identity. The second thing Cyberpunk does really well is great textures and ambient visual effects. Compared to maybe any other game I've played, different textures in Cyberpunk look like different things, and that gives every space in the game a great sense that you could reach out and touch it. And then the third thing that separates Cyberpunk from other games is, of course, its world building. The little details they sneak into the background of every scene, like the dancing weirdos in liquid tubes or the branding on products around the bar, they really help sell the visual identity of the space, and it makes it incredibly immersive to look at. The funny thing, though, is that beyond looking incredible, Cyberpunk's nightclubs are actually a little bit of a step backwards, so to speak.
Yeah.
Let's jump into the game's best nightclub, which is called Toten.
He's now going to talk what I talk about for years on the stream. The NPCs are so
and take a
terrible,
look
man.
at what I mean. Now, obviously, this club is incredible. I am not in any way saying that it's bad. I just want to point out some of the ways that it's actually more similar
Totentanz
to
is
some
so
of those
Berlin,
older
man.
games we
That's how
looked
you
at,
have to mention
despite
Berlin.
its high fidelity appearance, because that's obviously interesting to me. The main thing here is in NPC behavior. Totentanz actually kind of has a similar thing going on here as GoldenEye 007 for the Wii, where from far away, the effect of all the NPCs is really beautiful and very striking. But once you actually walk around and look at them, these are some video game-ass NPCs. They don't walk around like they did in Sleeping Dogs. They stare at you kind of funny or dance in really strange ways sometimes. They awkwardly stand around in places that a real person never would at a club. It's such a funny
Black Apple?
contrast
Doesn't
from
even
the
sound that
impression
bad.
that you get when you
Black
first
Apple.
show up here, and I want to draw a comparison with something I said back when we talked about Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Remember how I said that despite the fact that the Malibu Club was really bare bones and weird, how it didn't feel bare bones and weird in the context because the whole game is kind of bare bones and weird, so you just sort of get used to it? Cyberpunk is kind of the opposite. It's so incredible to look at that seeing something bare bones and weird like this stands out like crazy, and it feels much more weird as a result. Now, for me, this doesn't break my immersion.
That's what I always said. It breaks my immersion. It made me hate Cyberpunk. The NPCs
at
are
all,
terrible.
ever. And I've always felt that the effect that things like this have on games is wildly overblown by people online. I really don't think things like this matter at all. But thinking back,
I do, buddy. I think it's immersion, man. If every NPC is just a fucking mannequin, it means I'm fully alone in the world with scripted NPCs. No. Thank you, Mr. Schaufel, for the tier 2, man. Thank you, man. Schaufele, thank you. No.
on it.
I
I
disagree
wonder
with
if this
him.
is part of why the game got so much criticism when it launched, because a lot of the glitches that went viral were highly visual. It was seeing unusual or uncanny things happening on the backdrop of this insanely beautiful game, and that contrast really rubbed people the wrong way, which again, I think is dumb, but it is what
Aren't
it
they
is.
making another
Now,
Cyberpunk?
that being
Like a
said,
second
there
one?
is one thing that Cyberpunk has that none
The best nightclub in a movie? I don't know. I mean, obviously, everyone is instantly thinking of John Wick. Going I hit your love. Nightclub scenes in nightclubs. I don't know, I forgot all of them, bro. Blade opening. Yes, true. Cantina and Star Wars Blade. Yeah, Blade is very true. Yeah. I can't think of much right now. But Blade is probably rank 1, yeah. I can't come up with anything. Nightclub scene. Can't think of anything. Matrix had one? I don't remember that even. Collateral? I don't remember that shit.
the other games do. You can push a button to dance.
Wow.
And any game that takes the time to add a dance button to its nightclubs is a big winner in my book. Big thumbs up to Cyberpunk. In terms of number of NPCs, we'll use
Tron
Totentanz as
Legacy.
the bar because it's the biggest club in the game. And if we take the time to count everyone up, we find that it has, once again, more
211.
NPCs than any other game so far, with 157. We've got 2 nightclubs left. One from
Hitman will crush everyone. Hitman is the king of NPCs. It's sometimes mind-blowing how good... someone was saying earlier, you guys remember Mardi Gras? The Mardi Gras mission, which was the first time ever, from Dusk Till Dawn, the first time ever they had this new system with these infinite NPCs, man.
2021 and one from 2023.
Mardi Gras was
the one
insane.
from 2021 is, in my opinion, easily the most authentic and realistic video game nightclub of all time. So we're actually going to save that one for last and skip
Hitman.
ahead to 2023
What's that one gonna be?
in order to discuss a nightclub that's famous, or you could say infamous, online. And that, of course, is the Astro Lounge from
I don't
Bethesda
know
Game
that.
Studios' wonderful sci-fi role-playing
I don't
game,
know that one.
Starfield. This is a club that you can
Hitman
find
has a
in the
Berghain
city
mission?
of
Really?
Neon, which is on
I haven't
the
played
planet
Hitman in
Goldeneye
ages, man.
Alpha. And as soon as you walk in the front doors, something becomes clear. The Astro Lounge is a strange place. In my
Tron had a nightclub scene? I don't fucking remember that shit. That's supposed to be a nightclub. Nice Daft Punk music though, that's cool. Okay, that doesn't look like a fucking... That's supposed to be a nightclub?
Different time.
What the fuck?
My opinion, it's giving art installation more than real social hangouts, and a big reason for that is the lighting. It's all incredibly soft, and it doesn't really cast any harsh shadows. You know, it kind of reminds me of if you've ever gone to
this video is giving me a lot of vibe about what video game development actually look like, and it must be so sad that you're like a developer sitting over there and you're creating this amazing nightclub. You really are dropping the nightclub of kings in Starfield, yet the other team over in that cubicle is fucking up the game. It's making the game terrible. Starfield is not very good, is it? And how sad that must be, because as a game dev, you're not alone. You are in big games. You are this unit of a big engine, and you can do a great job. But if other units fuck up, how sad is that, man? That your great work, your great achievement, kinda. It's not gonna get the recognition it deserves because the rest of the like mode shops are like that.
In weird boxes with projection mapping on the walls and the floors and stuff. Sort of like that vibe. The music here is also fairly low key. It's not like harsh and overwhelming like Cyberpunk was, and it gives the space much more of an upscale lounge vibe rather than like an intense nightclub. Much like Mass Effect, they've got dancing weirdos standing on top of a platform for your entertainment, and like Sleeping Dogs, you've got NPCs that actually have a variety of behaviors, including, for the first time in this video, ones that actually stand up, sit down, or lean on the walls. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, this is the only nightclub in which we can sit down anywhere we want as the player character, which is one of the best things about Bethesda's game engine. It's just such an added layer of buy-in when you can sit down in a space instead of having to stand or crouch. Maybe the best thing about the
Everybody's sending me nightclub videos. There was a nightclub scene. That movie is crazy, man. If you ever feel bored at night and you don't know this video is a great watch. This movie is a great watch, man. The song is Paul Oakenfold, I remember. It was a legendary World of Warcraft PvP music back in the day. Great movie, man. If you ever are bored and you don't know the movie, great watch. You watch it and then you fucking forget it, man. But great movie.
Astro Lounge, though, are those dance...
People shit on Tom Cruise a lot, but he makes great movies. He doesn't make movies that make me think forever about them, like they changed my life, but Tom Cruise movies are like, that was nice. I like that. That was a good movie.
Dancers I mentioned. It is so easy and sensible, to be honest, to have dancers in video game nightclubs be modeled after strippers. In fact, every single game we've looked at has their dancers modeled after strippers. Vice City has these professional themed dancers on stage. Mass Effect has Asari pole dancers with stilettos. Sleeping Dogs has your classic raised platform dancers above the bar. And Cyberpunk has these weird things in tubes of liquid. I know everyone will of course have their opinions on this, but I think that as a reflection of real life, this is, broadly fine. But it's kind of crazy that the only game we found that thought to try something different was Starfield. Rather than pulling their nightclub entertainment from the likes of seedy strip clubs or dark sci-fi lounges, Starfield went the Blue Man Group.
Talking about Scientology, I'm seeing a new TikTok trend where young people form groups and run into Scientology churches and film themselves. I'm getting old, man. What the fuck? I know heard that Scientology is now closing all its doors and stuff. Yeah. What? You haven't heard of that? This is the current TikTok trend. You haven't heard of this? Scientology... Oh my god, was ist das? Scientology trend. It's the biggest trend in the world right now. They go into Scientology churches and just run through them. That's the new trend.
There's a new viral trend taking over the internet, and it's as bizarre as it sounds.
Is that kind of trespassing? Isn't that kind of...
And it involves people trying to...
Who comes up with this? One guy must be the first guy to have this idea. And then people go, yeah, I shall do that.
Into Scientology centers and get as far inside
They take you to the brainwashing room.
Before getting stopped.
They are crazy cold though. Yeah. But don't you get into... Can you get in trouble for this? What the fuck? One thing though, these shorts show me, the Scientology churches look rich. They have crazy equipment, very beautiful looking.
The trend reportedly started in March 2026.
Look how beautiful Scientology churches are, man.
When a TikToker known as 5.0, Oroto, uploaded a video of himself.
What's up, guys? It's me, 5.0 Roto, and I invented the Scientology rate trend.
Running past security inside a Hollywood Scientology building.
Look how rich that building looks.
Others began copying the idea, turning it into a kind of real-life speedrun challenge that spread across platforms.
Fucking kids, man.
While some people
At least they're
online
outside.
find the trend hilarious and even see it as a form of rebellion against Scientology, others are far more critical. Critics argue that these stunts don't actually challenge the organization in any meaningful way and even reinforce its narrative that
Who cares? They're kids. They just want to do some weird shit. They don't give a shit about a deep meaning.
Route and created what I would say is a straight up
Someone rated them with little people.
Minions! Tonight we meet Tom Cruise!
How big is that building? How do they have so much money?
All right. Here we go. Hello. We are here to meet Tom Cruise. May we come inside?
I'm feeling so old lately because I feel like my grandpa now. Back in the day, I would show my Pokemon cards to my grandpa and he's like, uh-huh. And now I'm that guy. Now I'm like, huh.
No. Curse you, Shannon! Okay, maybe this will
Oh, they don't have to pay taxes because they're considered a religion. Oh, that's such a scam.
change your mind.
Oh, that's not good. That's not good.
Feast your eyes upon
They scam their followers just like you. Who gave you mod, bro?
If you let us meet Tom Cruise, you can do whatever you want with this one. Everybody beg!
I think culture is always just money schemes. No one really believes in this shit. No one believes in the fucking Xenu. It's all about money shit, right?
anti-sexy 1970s sci-fi rubber aesthetic. I don't know if that was intentional, but to me it reads like something from Lost in Space, which is kind of awesome. And really, the whole club has a 1970s sci-fi hippie vibe to some extent, from the see-through DJ sphere suspended above the dance floor to the vaguely Eastern spirituality coded fonts and wall design. Which also means this is the first club we've looked at to actually slant intentionally away from being rooted in gritty realism and into something surreal and retro looking. That's not to say that all of this weird, awkward stuff is intentional, of course. In classic Bethesda fashion, NPCs here love staring at you from afar, dancing slightly awkwardly and trying way too hard to convince you that this is the coolest place you've ever been. But just like with the frozen NPCs in Mass Effect,
I'm thinking, what was the greatest nightclub I was in? It's a great question. I had a clubbing phase. I went clubbing, but I hated it. I only did it because I wanted to be social and meet women, but I hated it. I don't fucking remember. What was that? Ah, my go-to club was this. I remember now. I'm so old now. That was my go-to club. Charles Bronson Halle. That was my go-to club. A night we won't forget. Fuck is this cancer? Show the club. I just want to show the club. Yeah, that was, yeah. That was what I did. Yeah. And I would always stand in the middle and just be like... Because I was too shy to dance. I would never dance. I would always stand there like... Okay, not as epic as I remember it. Not as epic as I remember it. And then there was normie clubs. There's a thing I like to call normie clubs. Clubs normies go to. People that are right-wing, you know? And there was a thing called Schorre. Schorre Halle. It's closed now. I would get bullied so much in there. Because I was a skinny ginger, I was getting bullied so much in that club. That was the normie club. Everybody was having tribal tattoos. All the women had like black dyed hair and shit. I remember that shit, man. And then my favorite club ever. I wish. So this was the Schorre, the normie club in my city. There was a stairs going upstairs, and above this club was a thing called Genschman Halle. And the Genschman was a club only for people above 30. So me and my friend, we would always go up there from the normie club to look at all the MILFs. We were looking at all the MILF ladies, but they're not really... Nah, this is too old. This is too long ago. But there will be all the U30s, and I was like 25, and I was like, that is my place. Modern Talking, MILFs, that was great, man. That was good.
or the awkward standing around people in Cyberpunk, this is just something that kind of fades in.
And then the last time I ever was in a club was, I just met Lisa, must have been 8 years ago. And friends of ours were like, we're not old yet, let's go to a club. And it was called Institut for Freedom in Leipzig. And that was the most hipster shit ever. I remember I was standing on the dance floor. It was like underground shit, you know? I'm standing there and I'm looking around and everybody is high on drugs. I'll never forget. I'll never forget, there was a guy, in the crowd who looked like the AC/DC singer. I will never forget this. He looked like this guy. Imagine this guy, but 20 years old. I will never forget. The last time I was in a club, I'm standing, and right here is a guy. And he looked just like that, and he had a backpack, and he would always look at me like this. I remember, he was like this. He would always, I always remember, he would show his teeth. And I was, like, impressed by him. And I remember in that club, there was fucking allowed. There was fucking. There was, like, these, I remember this, man. There was, like, a pathway, and in the pathway was these little rooms. And I remember we would go past, and people would fuck here. And I remember all these people were like, whoa, they're fucking. Wait, there's no way, bro. And it was, like, cool for 1 second. Because then they would also fuck on the dance floor. I remember there was a dance floor, they would fuck on the dance floor. And that was, like, okay, right? And I remember that was, like, it was not cool. They were kind of ugly and disgusting and like, a bit overweight. And I was like, and it was like, oh, it's cool, let them do it, man. We're all free. And I was like, I don't know, man. I think it's time to become a streamer and stop clubbing, man. I remember I didn't like that. I remember seeing her naked ass, and it was very chubby and full of black tattoos. You remember Hitman? Yeah, that was a good time, yeah. Good time.
To the background atmosphere when you're
that was my last time in a club.
In a fun
and I remember, I will never forget. So we were friends, right? And we were in the late 20s. And I remember our friends, we have like a friend couple, and they said, Tom and Lisa, if you want some privacy, we can give it to you. They were saying, if you guys want to go to the fuck room, and me and Lisa were like, what? That's what you think? We're like Germans, man. We're very German people, man. What? And we're like, what? I remember we were so shocked. Like, in what world do you think that's gonna happen? What the hell? No way, bro. I was very shocked by my friends there. Like, what? The fuck? If I want to get fucked, I look at the taxes,
anyway, being
man.
in the Astral Lounge
yeah, fuck clubs. I don't go there anymore.
Being
no.
in a place where everyone around you is inebriated in some way, but you aren't
Dean
yet.
clubs
Like,
that allow everybody,
just
always
so
disgusting.
It,
Well, the Berghain, the most famous club in the world in Berlin, literally has a guy. It's a true story. You can Google this. He's very known. When you go to Berghain and you walk into the men's toilet, it's a true story. You walk into the men's toilet, there's the pissoirs, where you piss. On the right side of the pissoirs is an old man on his knees, and he sits like this. And he wants you to piss in his mouth. He does it every week. It's a true story. If you don't know, Germans know this. It's a true story. And he's like an icon there. He's like an artifact. He always gets in. They love him. Super fucking normal. And that's where I'm a bit conservative. There are some like, no, I don't feel like I need that. I don't know. Pissing into people's mouth, very left wing. Very left wing.
Get it at all. And technically, this is lore supported because this lounge is really mostly a front for selling
It's a tourist
this super
attraction.
crazy fictional drug called Aurora, which
Sticky
everyone
Vicky?
here is high.
Do you know Sticky Vicky? Sticky Vicky. What? What the fuck are you sending me? A woman known for her vaginal music show. I'm not gonna fucking Google that anymore. What the fuck? She made vagina music. Okay, that's
high on, so maybe you just have to be high on Aurora in order to really get why the damn
Amazing world to raise kids in. Come on, you can still. That's bullshit, Kendall. I can still raise a child without going to the piss club, you know?
Now, the good news is you can actually do Aurora in the game. You can buy it from the bartender and ingest it. And if you sit down to do that, it just makes your vision go slightly weird for 10 seconds, and then you're kind of back to normal. So, you know, that's lame.
Vicky died and her granddaughter now does the same.
In terms of creating a strong sense of aesthetic and a memorable pit stop on a long journey, the Astro Lounge is an excellent video game nightclub. So why exactly did it get so much flack when it first released?
My kid's school is next to this piss club.
That Bethesda's games don't
kind of
show
so
well on camera. Not that they
so
don't look
overrated,
good,
man.
but just that the feelings you get from seeing their games differs a lot from the feelings you get while playing their games. And that's not something that's true of every game. There's a reason why glitch compilations from Skyrim or Fallout became so popular despite them having a relatively minor effect on the actual gameplay experience. So when you cut Starfield against something like Cyberpunk, which they put a lot of effort into communicating it visually, it's always going to look kind of bad, even if that visual awkwardness doesn't actually come across while playing. But the other thing is that Starfield is a game that kind of tries to smash together thick sci-fi grounded realism, gritty cyberpunk noir, and cheesy/idyllic 1960s.
I never played this game. I only hear bad things. I hear the game is terrible.
Futurism.
I watched a video the other night, a 1 hour video explaining the downfall of Starfield.
It jumps between these.
It looks good, man, but I only hear and see bad things.
For a lot of people, it didn't really read
very
as like
empty
this
game,
cool
very
dance
empty.
between vibes. It came across as disjointed laziness. I obviously completely disagree with that assessment. it. And I think this nightclub sort of represents one of the best things about Starfield, which is its evocative and
very
unique
mid.
aesthetic design. Now, how many NPCs do you think are in the Astral Lounge? Do you think it's more or less than Cyberpunk's Totentans? The answer is 102. So just about in line with Sleeping Dogs, though it is a much smaller space than Sleeping Dogs. Maybe we should have done
Now he's gonna show you, man.
NPC
I already know.
density survey
What you're gonna see now is so impressive, man.
instead.
I remember many years ago, they announced in like the gaming industry that the Hitman has developed an NPC system. I can't explain that. They developed a system of simulating crowds. Everyone who played Hitman knows what I'm talking about, right? And it's so impressive, these crowds.
Well, whatever. So
The
far,
Formula 1 mission. You guys remember the Formula 1 mission, bro?
we've looked at loads of video game nightclubs. This is by far the most comprehensive assessment of the topic on the planet. You're welcome. And we've seen so many wonderful and strange ways that game developers create these iconic spaces for human interaction. But none of the places we've looked at so far actually capture the feeling of being in a real
It's probably going to be... I
Even
don't know what the game is going to show, but I know it's going to be
aesthetics sort of
impressive.
break down when you look too closely, which again is not a bad thing. But there is one game developer out there who somehow managed to capture all of the
Who even
nuance
made Hitman? It was Eidos when I was a kid, who made Tomb Raider.
of being in a real nightclub
But Eidos doesn't
down to
exist
the
anymore.
absolute smallest of details. And it is my pleasure to share their work with you right now with the last stop on our journey, IO Interactive's 2021
never played that
masterpiece,
game.
Hitman 3. The
Why is there so many German weird names? Hölle, Totentanz.
recent Hitman trilogy, which has since rebranded as Hitman World of Assassination, is a real treasure trove of tiny little worlds built in great detail. But perhaps none of the
Never
levels
played it, but
here
that looks
are as
insane.
impressive or affecting as the second level of the third game, Club Hole. This level is set inside of a decommissioned nuclear power plant, which has been repurposed into a nightclub outside of the city of
Cool.
Berlin.
That looks
And
insanely
right from the jump,
cool.
it's clear that Hitman does something above and beyond any of the other games on our list.
Wow,
the
that looks
number of
sick.
NPCs standing in the queue here, the people just waiting in line to go in the nightclub, is
Look at already the difference to all the other ones, man. The nightclub shit is getting wrecked. Who's the developer? Who made this?
134, which means that this game has nearly as many people waiting to get into the club as Cyberpunk 2077 has in
IO Interactive. Oh, I never heard of them. IO Interactive. Okay.
its entire club area.
From
When I saw
Denmark.
this line of people, I nearly started to tear up, legitimately.
That looks
Along with
insane.
the quiet, authentic environment design, seeing this many people standing in such a familiar and believable arrangement.
Fuck, I gotta play this
instantly
game, man. Holy
transported me
shit, that looks
completely into the
insane.
game. Even though the NPCs themselves are a little silly looking and they do silly things and they say silly phrases, the sheer authenticity of their volume was completely overwhelming to me. And inside the club, it only gets better. There's the entrance where you get a sticker to cover your phone camera. There's a pat down you have to go through, a coat check, and then the hallways. Holy cow, the hallways here. I'm gonna do my best to explain this because it's kind of a weird point that I want to make, but we need to talk about these hallways. You know how in some of our earlier locations, we talked about this idea of a space that's so clean and curated that it feels unrealistic? You know, that's how Mass Effect kind of felt. It's how Starfield kind of feels. And Cyberpunk kind of goes the other direction, where they just let the whole game be covered in garbage, and that's just the game's aesthetic. But here in Hitman 3, we see something incredible. This is a space that's trying to feel curated and perfect, staffed by people whose job it is to maintain that vibe, but one that's also struggling against the fact that the messiness of reality can never be totally accounted for. You can put these light cubes up all over and they do a great job, but at the end of the day, the lighting isn't perfect. It's a little splotchy. The walls are still concrete. There are still boring storage rooms that look like boring storage
Impressive,
rooms.
dude.
The
Holy
staff
shit.
may be all masked and cool, but you know, they still have silly arguments about misplacing
Do a
someone's
hardcore
coat.
run?
You still
Sounds
have to
interesting,
walk down
man.
a bare, ugly staircase to get to the dance floor. No other video game nightclub, honestly, not very many video game locations, period, capture this tension the way that it's been captured here in Hitman 3. So how did IO Interactive do this? Well, according to the development team, it took a lot of effort, and they took inspiration from multiple world-famous real-life clubs in Berlin, including Kraftwerk, Sisyphus, and the ultra-mysterious and exclusive Berghain. But we're not done exploring this club in Hitman, not even close, because by far the most beautiful part of it is the main dance floor itself. You come down these stairs and turn the corner to see a sight that absolutely took my breath away. Look at all of these people.
Wow.
Look at them. This is like what we saw in GoldenEye 007, only
But
it's
they're all
this is
real.
These are all NPCs with faces. You can walk among them, you can touch them, and it's just an absolute sea of them.
future
from
is
the
now,
front
bro.
to the back in a way that I have never ever seen before in a video game. On top of that, the music here is perfect. The sound
Rockstar Games should buy this technology for GTA 6, man.
And the lighting, which is almost as impressive as the quantity of NPCs, doesn't betray the video gaminess of the space at all. It's really, really well done. They absolutely nail not just the aesthetic, but the feeling. It's truly astonishing. There's also an outdoor space that I could talk about for hours, and frankly, I'm kind of kicking myself for making this one big video on 20 years of nightclubs instead of just a video exclusively about Hitman 3, because I could absolutely fill 20 minutes with things I want to tell you about this place. But oh well. But this outdoor space is also just incredible. Please go look at it if you have time. Now, there are two specific details I want to tell you about in this club that I think really take it to an even higher level. One of them comes in the form of some interactivity. Hitman, as you might know, is a game about assassinating people, and part of doing that is about knocking people out, taking their clothes, and disguising yourself as them so you can move about the space. In this level, one of the disguises you can get is the DJ for the club.
I saw that in a YouTube short. You can't be the DJ.
You can actually go up behind the DJ stand, which is also just beautifully detailed with tons of
cool. That looks insanely cool, yeah.
You can trigger a grand finale moment for the people in the crowd. Are you ready? Here it is. Look at this. This looks fucking insane. Have you ever seen a mass of NPCs act like this in a video game? It's crazy.
Wow.
But in some ways, the other detail I noticed...
I'm old. I played Blood Money, Hitman Blood Money, where you have to put poison in the donut, man. I remember that shit.
Even more amazing because it is so subtle. I was in one of the club's bathrooms admiring all of the...
That looks like a real bathroom, yeah.
I stopped for a second and I noticed a sound. Listen. Do you hear that?
Wow.
That little rattling sound that comes in just after each bass drum hit in the song that's playing in the other room. That tiny little noise. I have never, ever heard a game capture this.
He's such a good YouTuber. How he brings attention to this. Like attention to the little rattle sound. It's just genius.
Sound of something rattling nearby from music playing out of giant speakers in another room. And on top of that, they perfectly timed that rattle to be just after the kick drum hits, just like it is in real life because of the way that frequencies propagate. And if you go to other spaces in the club, different materials rattle with different noises.
Wow.
Listen. Once again, this little detail, it just, I could have cried.
He loves that. He loves level design, right? It's art. This is art, right? This is modern art. We don't have painters anymore like Van Gogh. This is fucking art, man.
So I really could have. It was just so unbelievably evocative of this real...
This video is probably gonna sell a lot of written and free copies.
Kind of feeling that you have in a space like this. I had to share it with you because I feel like you guys are the only people who'd appreciate it. Now, the real cherry on top here is the NPC count. As you can imagine, this club has by far the most NPCs active in any of the places we've looked at today, but you still might be surprised at the sheer scale of it. So like I said, there are 134 people in the line outside, but there are also 90 people outside on the patio, 37 in the bathroom, 71 staff members and security guards, and approximately 991
Audio designer must be so happy someone finally notices this.
People.
It shows me how we played all these games, but we never really fully pay attention to how much work goes into them, right?
Hanging out.
I'm often an asshole that goes, this game is shit, but man, there's so much work into this stuff, right?
Gives us a grand total of 1,323 NPCs. I mean, good lord.
Damn.
It's worth noting that this number was from me either directly counting them myself or doing estimates where NPC movement made it impossible to count. So I could be a little bit off, but I know that I'm close. So that's, I mean, it's just amazing.
Many years ago, I played the Formula 1 level on stream and I was overwhelmed. I was honestly like, whoa, what the fuck is going on, man?
What remains to be explored for us here is whether each of the games we looked at today would be better if their nightclubs had the level of authenticity and detail that Hitman does. Because I think our instant reaction is to say, you know, yes, more thought is better, more detail is better, make it more realistic. And obviously it's not necessarily possible, but let's say that it was. Let's say that every game
I saw Pyro's. I saw the clip where she didn't hit the head.
Would we want each and every game to be like that? Or when we do that thought experiment, do we maybe come to appreciate the variety, the oddness, and the uncanny experience of the video game nightclub? Okay, with that, there is only one more thing to do today. I have to show you the most disgusting toilet texture in any video game I've ever seen, courtesy of 2012's Sleeping Dogs. This is your last chance to avoid it, okay? Are you ready? Here it is. Good lord.
That is instantly potato soup. That is German potato soup. I want to eat that. That's potato soup with sausages. Straight up.
Like what even? I don't even. We're not
it's
even
potato soup.
I'm Annie Austin. Thanks for watching.
That guy is, I think, in my opinion, lately the best YouTuber in the world, man. His content is... He feels like a young guy with great ideas. Unlike me, man. Let's play Age of Reckoning. That was amazing, man. Great video.
She slipped through my fingers like sand. Heard that she had a man. Now I'm just sitting here sad. Oh well, ship sail. She slipped through my fingers like sand.